All right, ladies and gentlemen, the Cage Nation, we have a special occasion here for you. We are talking to one half of the main event at Gladiators of the Cage, North Shore's Rise to Power 3. I am talking about the one, the only, Dominick the Honey Badger Mazzotta. Dom, how you doing?
Good. How you guys doing today?
We're doing great, Dom. Honey Badger, is it because you just don't care?
Yeah, I don't care. I just don't care. No, I don't. No, I care. I care about things. It's just, that's just the name that I got for my jiu-jitsu gym, so kind of stuck with me.
You're talking about all the guys at the Mat Factory.
Yeah, the Mat Factory.
The Mat Factory. The Mat Factory, the same gym, Drew, that brought us Chris Dempsey, who main evented at the last two Gladiators of the Cage. Dominick Mozzotta trains out of that forge of just warriors.
And Dominick Mozzotta is main eventing this Gladiators of the Cage as well.
Dom is one of two guys I can count that appeared at every North Shore's Rise to Power, the other one being Chris Dempsey. Is that accurate, Dom?
Yes, it is.
All right. Dom, you have 11 fights on your belt between amateur and pro, but this is your third pro fight. In those three pro fights, you're already main eventing. How does it feel to accomplish so much so fast in such a short time?
It feels good. I mean, like you said, I had 11 fights, so I kind of I kind of came in my pro career already with a following. So it wasn't like I just, all of a sudden people started coming to see me. I had my last amateur fight. I fought Wes Hansen for the NAAFS national title, and we had a great following then. And it kind of just rolled over for me. And that's what the promoters want. They want a guy that people are going to come and see, and that's who they want to put on as their main event. Even though I only have 2 fights and this is my third fight, I think I'm well deserving as the main event.
I mean, when it comes down to entertaining fighters, Dom, I think you certainly got a charisma that's just made for Pittsburgh. And let's talk about what propelled you into that main event. Of course, I'm talking about Jeremiah Yeager being introduced to the side of your foot in a really hard way. Now, Dom, I watched that fight probably, Drew, what do you say, like probably 10 times?
At least.
Easily, just kind of demonstrating it.
That's about 1/10 of the times I watched it. So,
well, Dom, we talked to you pre-fight at North Shore's Rise to Power 2, and we talked about you were from the Mat Factory, so you're comfortable on the ground. But you also said that you were also comfortable throwing head kicks, and that's exactly how you finished the fight, which really kind of blew us away. Now, as I'm watching this fight, I'm noticing you're kind of you're repositioning, you're changing, and then that head kick comes out of nowhere. Was that head kick like reactionary, Dom, or were you setting Jeremiah up for it?
Well, you know what, I didn't really know much about the kid. I don't like to watch film on my fighters. It's something that I don't do because I don't like to look for things in the fight, and I don't like to chase things when I'm fighting. So I like to get in there, see what kind of see it for myself, and make game time adjustments. And once I see something, then I know I can react. I can attack it. And it's kind of like I don't ever really game plan. We do a little bit of game planning, but I like to just look at it as I react. So yeah, it was something that I've seen. The only thing I really knew about him was he liked to switch his style up from southpaw to orthodox. So I kind of just waited for him to switch back to orthodox, where I could throw my left kick, because I got a good right kick too, but my left switch kick is a kick that I kind of use. I've been in Taekwondo since I was 5 years old, and my martial arts instructor, my Taekwondo grandmaster now, he comes from a kickboxing background, so it's not a normal Taekwondo school. He taught guys and trained guys in the K1 organization in Japan, and trained in kickboxing. He was a world champion, and that's something that I just seen. And his hands were a little bit low. I think because he came up from the amateurs, he maybe wasn't used to keeping his hands higher. And I seen it, and I threw the switch kick. Thankfully, it landed perfectly and knocked him out.
All right, now that fight, Dom, and without a doubt, the most exciting finish of the evening, that was broadcast to hundreds of thousands of homes on Root TV, Root Sports. How did that change your perspective on your career and how you looked at the sport?
It really didn't change too much. I mean, yeah, a lot of people are coming a lot more people are coming to this fight, and I mean, my ticket sales are skyrocketing right now, and I'm really, really blessed to have that and to be able to execute a technique that I've been doing for a long time in front of a stage that big, and to be on TV and for everybody to see it. You know, I mean, like I said, it was not new to me. I don't train any differently now. I didn't train any different. I train the same. I try to always up my game, but you know, nothing's really changed. I mean, I'm still training. I train with different people all the time, but you know, I mean, I'm still training with the same coaches and the same training partners. So, you know, really didn't really change much. It just made me a little bit more popular.
Fair enough. All right, Dom. We talked before. You got 11 fights in your career between your amateur and pro career. Now, of those 11 fights, I counted 3 that went out of the first round. Only 3. Now, the question is, Dom, do you train to stop fights out early, or is it just something that kind of naturally comes to the way you fight? I mean, because being involved in Taekwondo since age 5, clearly you know how to throw hands, but you're also training on the ground, but your fights just end very quickly. Is that intentional?
No, it's not intentional. I train for a 15-minute fight, so I expect to go in there and I expect to train and get the fight for 15 minutes and completely be exhausted at the end of the fight and drain my body. Thankfully, most of the time that doesn't happen, you know. But it's something like in the West Canton fight, I knew I wasn't going to be able to finish that fight in the first round. You know, I knew it was going to be a longer fight. I would love to finish every fight in the first round in 47 seconds, but you know, I like the fact that I know in the back of my mind, if I have to take you down and grind you down, I don't want to do that, but if I have to, I will, and I can. That's a confidence thing right there. Being able just to have confidence that I can do anything. I can wrestle, I can submit you, I can get up if I'm taken down, and I can go for 15 minutes and be the fresher guy. And I'm confident, no matter who I fight, that I'm going to be the guy pushing the pace. I'm going to be the guy that's fresh at the end of the fight, whether it, you know, ends early or if it's a 3-round battle.
Okay, now you're taking on Jordan Espinoza in the main event at Gladiators of the Cage, North Shore's Rise to Power 3. Thank you, Albert. Albert's holding up the 3 like I'm going to forget. What was your initial reaction when you found out that Jordan was going to be your opponent?
My initial reaction was isn't he fighting Cody Garbrandt? Because I thought that he was supposed to fight Cody, and they, I guess there was a miscommunication with them. Cody wanted at 45, they wanted at 35. You know, I don't really, my coaches bring me a fighter, you know, and they say, this is who you're fighting, you know, and then we start working from there. I know he's a state champion, I think wrestler or something, and I know he trained with Greg Jackson, but none of that really matters to me. This is a job to me. We're both going to go in there, and we're both going to fight as hard as we can, and the best person is going to win on that night. And, you know, so I wasn't, you know, I didn't really have any reaction. I just was ready to fight. I was already training, so, you know, I don't really train any differently for any opponent, you know.
I was going to say, on the topic of your training, have you made any changes to your training to prepare for a specialized grappler like Espinoza?
No, I mean, I grapple every day, so I don't think he's going to be able to grapple like Isaac Greeley can grapple, or he's going to, you know, show me anything that I haven't seen before. I recently been training cross-training at Impact in Ohio with Joey Holt, Scott Stansberry, Zalak, and of course I'm always training with Francis Healy, Ricky Borowski, guys like that. So, I mean, I'm always getting different looks. I mean, like I said, it's a reaction. I go in and I make game time decisions because I think that's the best thing for me to do. You know, everybody has their own little thing, their own little style. My style was go in, it's a fight. I'm going to react to what he's going to do. He's going to react to what I'm going to do. So, you know, I'm not the type of guy to watch film and worry about that thing. Actually, it comes from my first or second fight when I was being cornered by my grandmaster. He only cornered me in a couple of my fights. I think maybe one or two, but it was my first or second amateur fight. And he said, and I was a little bit nervous being an amateur and not fighting too many times. And I was looking over at the guy I was supposed to fight, and he smacked me in the face and said, "Don't look at him." He said, "You'll get yours in your own head." And I kind of rolled that over to not watching film and really not worrying about what that guy's going to do, because I can't help what he's going to do. I can only do what I'm going to do. So that's how I fight.
All right, Dom. Well, you mentioned your sensei, and knowing what we know about you, you did start in traditional martial arts. What was the light bulb going off saying, "Hey, you know what? I think mixed martial arts is the way to go"?
Well, it's actually a very long story. I just wrote a bio, and it took me about 4 hours to tell the whole story. It's going to be on my website, Dominick, the Honey Badger, Mozzotta.com. And in high school, I was 17. I won a world championship in kickboxing in Ireland. I went to Ireland with my grandmaster, and I won it, and I knew I could fight. Then, right then and there, I knew I could fight. I was 17. I was fighting in a adult division, because in Europe, that's when they start adults at 17. And I won. So I knew I could fight. About a month later, I lost my dad. And after that, I quit training. I kind of went down the wrong way. I didn't really have any direction. I went to the wrong path. I started getting into things like alcohol and some other things that I don't really want to talk about in case there's kids listening. And then whenever I turned 21, actually when I turned 20, I don't know if you guys know this, I actually opened a bar. Me and my mom, we owned a restaurant, and I turned it into a bar. And at age 20, owning a bar wasn't the best thing for a 20-year-old kid to have.
Well, you couldn't even drink in your own location.
So yeah, I was drinking a lot, and I was getting in fights all the time in the bars. I was having black eyes. I was hanging around with the wrong people, doing all the wrong things, and I really didn't even think about it. I really didn't even care. I lost my dad a couple years before that. I was going down the totally wrong path, and it wasn't until I actually stepped on the scale that it read 180 pounds. And I'm a short guy. I'm 5'6", 5'6.5". At 180 pounds, I look pretty chubby. So I stepped on the scale, and it said 180 pounds, and I was like, you know what? This is ridiculous. I got to make a change. And I didn't want to go to the weight gym, because I always made fun of guys that did that. I always, muscle heads. It just was never really my thing. So I thought, what can I do to get back into shape, lose weight, get a better body? I was like, I'm just going to go back to Taekwondo. Once I went back to Taekwondo, I started training, and I was digging it again. I was losing weight. I was starting to surround myself with better people, and we were watching a fight. It was me and some friends. We were watching a fight. My little sister had some friends over, and the one kid there, he was like, I had a bag downstairs. He was hitting the bag, and he said to me, he's like, I want to be an MMA fighter. Then he said to me, you know what? Who doesn't want to be an MMA fighter? Then I thought to myself, I'm training. Why wouldn't I want to try MMA? That's when the kind of light went off. Like, yeah, you know what? I can do that. I can do this. I want to be an MMA fighter. So I went back to Taekwondo, and I told them, I was like, I want to fight. So they were like, my grandmaster's son was actually there. He's the one that told me that I have to start working my ground game, because at the time I was like, I'm a stand-up fighter. I'm just going to knock everybody out. So he said, you got to start training your ground game. So I went to a guy named Ed Vincent, and he's a black belt, and he's in Lower Bowl too. Like, my Christ School's in New Kensington. The Math Factory is in Lower Bowl. They're neighboring cities. Mm-hmm. So I went there, and he, I called him. I started getting private, started going there, and from there I met Isaac Greeley, he's an All-American wrestler. Brown. He's a black belt now under Eddie also, and they welcome you with open arms. Eddie was training with me. They seen my passion. They seen that I was willing to work. They seen how tough I was. That I never gave up. I think that's what made them want to put their time into me, was the fact that I was always there, always working, and it was hard as hell to tap me out because I just never wanted to tap. You know what I'm saying? So that's when everything kind of started to come together, and about 8 months later, I stepped in the cage.
That was, I think, probably one of the better underdog. Like, that was a very good underdog story there, Don. Not saying you're an underdog going in, but I mean, that was just, you never really get to hear like the sides of guys like that, and I appreciate you sharing that with us. Okay, Don, I'm not going to lie. I may or may not like betting on fights, and I may or may not get in trouble with Mrs. Well. So, Dom, I want you to give me the inside track. How's it going down between Mozzotta and Espinoza? And I want betting odds, Dom. I want 40 to 1.
You want to know how I think it's going to end?
I want to know exactly how you think it's going to end.
Well, last night I had a dream that I north-south choked him.
Oh, right.
So, that's a possibility. My north-south choke's been working for me pretty good. I just went to a seminar a couple months ago with Kyle Tera, which is one of the best armbar guys in the world. Mm-hmm. And my armbars have been working really good, so I can see it ending in the armbar. But I'm always looking for that head kick KO, man. That
head kick was beautiful. I mean, like,
I'm always looking for that.
I'm watching
and, but my boxing coach, Paul Peterson, which is another gem. He's from Louisville too, and which is funny. It's just funny to me how everything comes together.
Yeah.
There's a lot of guys who don't get the training I get anywhere. They have to travel, and these guys are right in my backyard. So, but my boxing coach has been yelling at me saying, knock the guy out with your hands. Punch him. I want to see just your hands. That fight usually ends a little bit too quick, but hopefully I get to show off my boxing a little bit with the kid. I know he's good at good boxing. He's got good boxing and those good straight punches and good leg kicks. And I like to knock him out of my hands, but any finish will do. I'm just looking to put on a good show. Hey, if we get a 3 round and it's a war, that's great too.
Absolutely.
Now, Dom, remember, Albert's house, his car, and his
happy marriage.
And his happy marriage are riding all on this, okay? So don't let him down.
We're opening up the episode, this episode of Cage Nation TV with that head kick on Jeremiah Yeager. We're sitting there. It's like Crow Cop before Crow Cop started to suck.
Yeah.
That was like Crow Cop before Gabriel Gonzaga got a hold of him. Dom, there's a lot more paths open to young mixed martial artists these days than what were even like maybe even 5-7 years ago. Have you thought about doing something like Fight Master or Ultimate Fighter or like what are the prospects for a guy who's main eventing on his third pro fight, clearly is a knockout artist, but has grappling chops to boot?
I tell you what, I wish I was on the Ultimate Fighter this time. I mean, it's 135, and everybody's not making weight. What are these guys doing? I can't believe it. It's embarrassing.
I know, right?
For the sport, like, you can't have discipline. People are there on TV stuffing their face. I'm here they're stuffing their face the week of the fight. I'm here. I own a restaurant, and I'm eating chicken and broccoli every day. You know what I mean? And when I see food go by me, like, have some discipline. So of course I want to be on that show. I wish I was on there now.
Okay. Now let's say Doc Brown invents the time machine. We get Dominick Mazzotta on this season of The Ultimate Fighter. Are you Team Rousey or Team Tate?
I go Team Tate just because I thought they had the better coaches.
Now, and see, I was a big fan of Ronda Rousey till this season, and now like all of her crazy's starting to show. Like,
yeah, she kind of a little bit dramatic for me. I mean, I feel like there's been crying on every episode this season. So, but she's a little bit too much for me. But she's a good fighter. I mean, I'd be happy to be on either of their teams.
Okay,
I'd just be happy to be on the show.
There you go.
All right. Well, how about this question? In a fight, Ronda Rousey or Cain Velasquez, who do you take?
I don't know. It depends. If Rousey gets a hold of that armbar, Velasquez would. I don't think that she would stand a chance.
I mean, ever since Ronda Rousey came out, like, recently with The Ultimate Fighter, like, she's, like, crying all the time. She strikes me as someone who should be on an episode of Cops, like, beating someone up over, like, the last Pabst Blue Ribbon. That's really that's the impression she's giving me here.
Yeah, I know.
All right, Tom. So win or lose, okay, regardless of what happens on December 7th at Stage AE at North Shore's Rise to Power 3, What is coming down the pipe for Dominick Mozzotta?
Win or lose, the next weekend I'm traveling to Philadelphia and trying out for Bellator with a couple buddies, Francis and Chris Dempsey's coming too.
Nice.
So we have the exclusive on that?
And, just keep grinding. Get ready for the next one. No matter who it is, get ready for the next fight. Hopefully a title fight. I've been wanting to fight a 5-round fight for a long time. And I'm hoping that'll happen after this fight.
Well, there's lighter weights. I mean, I know, we're from the State College Altoona region. Featherweights are blowing up right now. Bantamweights aren't close behind. I mean, I imagine that's going to be really soon for you, especially if this fight goes down how I am putting down cold hard cash it's going to go.
I'll fight at featherweight as long as it's the right fight. If it's a fight that's going to, boost me to where I need to be, I'd go on the Ultimate Fighter at featherweight or Fight Master. I fought featherweight my whole career. But I'm a true bantamweight. I'm a true 135er, and that's where I want to be. But 35, 45, it doesn't matter to me as long as it's going to give me the push. Whatever's the best fight, whoever's the best fighter. I want to fight tough guys. That's why I'm fighting Jordan. I know he's tough. He's got a good record. He's got a good reputation, and I think this is going to take me to the next step. Not only that, I think it's going to challenge me, and that's what I'm looking for.
All right, now, Dom, we're going to wrap up here, but is there anyone you'd like to thank or anything you want to give mention to, anything you want to plug, maybe the website, maybe the restaurant? The floor is yours, sir.
Yeah, I want to shout out to all my sponsors. First and foremost, the Rehab Center. They're a chiropractor actually by my wrestling coach, Isaac Greeley, and it is connected to the Mad Factory. Great chiropractic place. I've been before I was with them. I went to plenty of chiropractors around the area. I'm not just saying this because it's my sponsors, because my coach. He knows what he's doing. So anybody that's in the area, stop by there. The Gold Bars of Pittsburgh, the Laborers Union. I used to work for the Laborers Union actually. LA Tacos, Club Fitness. Club Fitness is actually it's a weightlifting gym. That's where I lift weights when I lift weights, and it's actually connected to my restaurant. Ribden, podiatrist Dr. Tony Abercelli, April Realty, Clockwise Teas, Baron Filtration, Viking Medical, Joe's Place in New Kensington, the Bermuda, New Kensington, and Toast. I also like to give a thank you to all my coaches, Isaac Greeley, Philip Amaris Jr., Jimmy Amaris, also Paul Peterson, Eddie Vincent. I'd also like to give a special thanks to my family and my mother for always making me go to Taekwondo when I would cry and say I don't want to go, and she would make me go, take me where I am today.
So we can thank that head kick.
Yes. Thanks to Mrs. Honey Badger for that head kick.
All right, ladies and gentlemen.
I have a funny feeling that what we just heard, you're going to hear that all over again at Gladiators of the Cage, North Shore's Rise to Power 3.
Oh, absolutely.
When he wins his fight.
Well, see, now, I could just imagine, Dom's mom, a very, very nice lady, telling him, hey, I don't care how many people you've knocked out, I will still end you.
Yes. Yes, she's very tough. She's very tough.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, I would cry, and then I would cry, and my dad would take me to Taekwondo, but he would just drop me off. Whenever she would take me, she would make sure she took me in to class, and she would tell my grandmaster he didn't want to come to Taekwondo today, and he was crying, he didn't want to be here. So make him work. And then he would. So
that's what we call tough love.
I tell you what, whenever we do our Mother's Day special about HTV, we're playing this interview. I mean, that was just absolutely fantastic.
I feel like we need to send Dom's mother a Mother's Day card. The hell with our mothers. Let's send Dom's mom a Mother's Day card.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, the Cage Nation, the Gladiators of the Cage, North Shore's Rise to Power 3. A lot of great fights on the card, but there was only one main event, ladies and gentlemen. That is Dominick the Honey Badger Mozzotta versus Jordan Espinoza. You don't want to miss it if you get this from you, right, Dom?
Yeah, they can get the tickets from me. Also, my manager, they can call my manager, Brian Mazzotta. Hold on 1 second, I'll get you the number.
I actually got a hold of you through Brian. So we actually got a hold of you through Brian, so we have Brian's number.
Oh, you have Brian's number?
We got Brian's number. We'll make sure we get a plug out to Brian. But, Dom, I want to thank you very, very much for agreeing to talk to us today. I know we always look forward to Gladiators of the Cage.
We always do. It's always a great time, Gladiators of the Cage, especially at Stage AE. It is an impressive setup, and Dominick Mozzotta is an impressive fighter, and I can't wait to see him in action in the main event against Jordan Espinoza. It's going to be a great one.
Absolutely. Dom,
Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much, Dom. We'll talk to you later.
Thanks, Dom.
See you later.